Time for the Crest Corner.
Mr. Fergie.
What's up, buddy?
How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
I'm
You?
good. I think I'm probably in the same state of mind as you as far as the week has gone, because I know we both had some stuff going on.
Oh God, yeah.
And it's
week.
like it's almost aligned with this like massive energy of everything changing. I mean, changing in the world, changing locally for us too. It's just crazy.
Oh God.
I mean, at one point, talking to you during the week, I was like, is it we just had a full moon. I was like, do we get an extra one? Do we get an extra full moon or something like that? It was pretty incredible. Like I wasn't sure what was going on.
I know. And that's usually what happens, man. Just once one thing, like a little domino falls, then the rest of them fall, and it just becomes chaos and crazy.
Yeah. And even going into Saturday nights are interesting. And I know I mentioned about possibly moving the night, but it's like coming from, we've been in this groove through the pandemic where it was kind of winding down, or not there wasn't really any winding down. We were just doing a lot of people were doing everything at home,
right?
But coming to the end of the week and having this Saturday night as this kind of significant mark, that was like, all right, let's catch up, let's talk about what's going on. So now it's like this, the opposite end of things, where it's almost a wind up to Saturday. Everyone's like, get me the fuck out of here, I want to be free, so
oh yeah. Well, and coupled with the fact, like the last couple of days here, the weather was just like outstanding.
Yeah.
But like you said, like today I had a simple ride of going to pick up my daughter, and it took me like probably twice as long, because like everybody's out, right? Because like you said, restrictions here in Connecticut, they're mask free zones now, right? There's all kinds of stuff. I mean, I went to the gym today for the first time with no mask, didn't have to wear one, so it felt weird, I gotta say. Like I walked in with it and I'm looking around and they're like, no, that CDC, blah blah blah, and I'm vaccinated, so it's one of those things. So it's like, but yeah, there's so much going on and everyone is starting to take advantage of it. You can see it.
It's going to be an interesting transition. We've had all these things in last year, over a year now, where the changes kind of occur, and it's as positive as they might seem, there's always these conflicts, which we don't really talk about that stuff on this show, but
that's right.
But anyways, along those lines, you the last time we did the show, you were at a concert. It was one of the first outdoor, socially distanced. I saw the photos, which was really interesting, because here it is, this pretty big outdoor arena, basically, right?
Yep. The old Pilot Pen place up in near the Yale Bowl.
Yeah.
And I mean, the capacity's, I think, like 10,000 people. But yeah, the floor was really spaced out, like quads of 4 people, little pods of 4. And then, I think they said that they had 2,000 seats of the actual bowl, arena seating available. So it was really strange, but it was really cool. You didn't have to have a mask when you sat, obviously in your seats and stuff, but they just wanted you to wear one when you walked around, to get drinks or use the bathroom or whatever.
Well, what was it like?
It was cool.
Well, I'm sure it was drastically different from typical concert experience, but did you feel fulfilled, watching music and stuff like that? I know it was kind of an odd night in itself.
Yeah. I mean, overall, yeah. I mean, it was definitely kind of surreal to be there and see like people interacting, getting up and dancing and all that stuff again. And then at one point, because it's just, who I am, I just let out one of my notorious like loud yells.
It was a woo.
It was a woo. And the band probably heard me, because then all of a sudden you started hearing people around the place started to do the same thing. And it was like, because people are just excited, and it's like, but it did feel weird. I got to say, it definitely didn't feel normal. Like it was like nothing ever happened. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to take us quite some time. Christine says hello.
Hey, what's up, Christine? Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. And I think like the scenario kind of paints itself right now. Outdoors is going to have a much faster, I think, comeback than indoors, for shows. Not to say that indoors won't, because they will, but like some of the smaller bars and stuff, I know obviously local bands and things, those are starting to kind of happen. Where they're putting up like plexiglass screens in front of the bands. I mean, who knows if that'll continue, but overall, hey Liz, what's up? I think overall though, it's going to be one of those sort of like slow crawls possibly, because I don't think anybody wants to see anything go backwards, and knock on wood, it won't, because the vaccine and just everybody being smart like we've been, even though there's obviously folks that have been sort of anti do the right thing or whatever, but whatever.
I'm staying in the basement. Fuck it. I'm just going to stay in the basement.
Well, I know that's what the thought was early on, right? We were going to just, hunker down.
I'll just stay in the basement.
I'll
come on a couple years. Fuck it.
Yeah. Load up on supplies. I mean, if you got enough of the beverage, right. I mean, what else do you really need? You get some snacks, a couple chips, maybe, get some burgers for the grill. Everything's good.
I mentioned a couple of things the last time I had the show when you were at the concert. And one thing that you knew about, and then I know Christine's going to ask me about, because the new Crush Corner coasters, which are pretty hilarious.
They're awesome. I'm gonna have to get my hands on some of those puppies when we start to go out, man. We'll just like start throwing them all over the bars.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty funny. I didn't put them on the site yet because I was just throwing these into orders and stuff like that. I definitely got to get Christine some, because she was asking me about those.
Nice.
And I did mention I finally decided to mention the hot sauce that I was working on, which is in work. So
you let that out of the bag, huh?
I did. I let it out of the bag, and it was the 3 degrees of hotness crushes the medium, kill is the crushes the mild, kill is the medium, and destroys the hot stuff. And it's still in the work. I actually have some of these still fermenting in the fridge, and I cracked some of them open to do a little taste test, and they actually taste even better.
That's good, man. I mean, it's trial and error with that stuff.
Yeah, 2 I'm pretty stoked about. One I got to maybe tweak it a little bit, but those are a long process. I learned a lot about fermenting peppers and shit, so I got to work on it, but those will probably be some freebies within some of the orders, so people could tell me how much they hate it or whatever, if they want to use it on rodents around the house or something like that. I don't know. And then the possible time change, I think we'll kind of take things as we go, and talk to some folks about moving the Saturday night to a different night again, as it is for us in the States, in Connecticut especially, with so much opening up. Saturday night may not be the most ideal for us, and we're going to be doing stuff too. If we're comfortable, we're going to be out there too, so that's just something for people to think about as far as the time slot for the show. So we're going to
and then like you said, I mean, at the end of the day, it's trying to accommodate still doing it, because now it's kind of taken on something obviously a bit bigger than what it was meant for, because what it was meant for, the backdrop of that is slowly kind of going away. So now the message, the folks that tune in, and everything we're trying to do to just continue to bring people together and create that positive vibe and just have it spread like wildfire, that we want to continue to do. So we just have to figure out when the best time and all that is to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm super stoked for our guest tonight.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Lauzon. I hope I pronounced that and I didn't butcher it too bad. I'll ask her. But I started following her. It's got to be about 8 years ago. And it was probably the algorithms for Instagram, which had completely to do with dogs and Boston Terriers. Because before my daughter was born, that was, the dogs are on the top shelf, and it's so hard to, you're like, oh, but it was all about it's a couple of Bostons in my life. So I would see these awesome pictures that she was posting of her dog.
Yeah, her dog is cool.
You take a look, and then it's, of course, however the algorithms work. So, and that's what I started to see her work, her illustrations. I was like, whoa. And then I at the time she was doing these cartoon-ish renditions of like portraits and stuff like that. So I reached out to get one done, which I talked to her earlier, and it seemed like it was so long ago, but it had to only be really 6 years, because I think Andy was 1 when I sent the photo. So it's incredible. I can't believe it. And then I would chat occasionally, and I would see her do some live stuff, watch her do some drawings and whatnot. Then we found out we had the same birthday month, and then I found out she had the same exact birthday as my dad. So these little common things. So I just kind of kept in touch over the years and continued to follow her artwork.
Yeah.
So
very good work.
I'm stoked to learn a little bit more about her.
Yeah.
So I think that we should bring her into the feed. I have a ton of stuff again on my side, all these buttons that I'm clicking every week. I'm like, where's all my stuff? So let's bring Kendyl into the feed.
Awesome.
Woo! Hello, Kendyl.
What's up? Oh no. Oh,
we have a slight delay, which we were kind of curious about earlier, but we'll see. We'll give it a chance to catch up.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can hear us okay.
Hopefully. It might be a little bit of a delay, huh?
Yeah, let's see if we can get a better connection.
I get stalled on really awkward face.
We have a little we got a little
those awkward faces.
Those are
yeah, I'm on my phone. I have things set up, so get it.
We're gonna wait. We're gonna give it a minute and see if it catches up, because I know
it does sometimes.
In the past, it's actually kind of caught up.
Oh, sure, it can happen.
No luck.
And you're so far away too, so maybe that has something to do. I don't know if that has anything to do with the internet, but
I guess it could. Who knows, right?
It could. I'm not sure.
I'm not too familiar.
I might have to.
She's gonna have to walk around the house and look for a good location.
Oh man.
We were curious if it was on my end at the shop or if it was on her end. So it's. I guess
well, now you know.
We got the answer to
there
that.
you go.
So.
That's good. So one mystery solved.
One mystery solved.
Cheers to that.
So we'll have to piecemeal things together. Maybe it'll take a little while, but
that's the internet. What are you gonna do? Oh yeah, it's choppy, a little choppy. Yeah.
So anyway,
autocorrect misspelled your name. That's gonna happen.
Oh, did I? What's that?
No, auto correct. I think Christine was saying hello.
Oh yeah.
It threw in an A instead of the Y.
I can switch to my. Right. It's just,
if you want to give it a shot, that's totally cool.
Yeah,
we can try that.
We could always try options. It's important to have a plan B. Right? It's about the pivot. We've talked about that before here.
Yeah, we're getting some nice stills on this side, so don't worry about anything. They're very nice shots. They're not too crazy looking. So.
That's so funny. But she is far away, though. I wonder if it does have something to do with it. Who knows?
No, I wouldn't imagine. I mean, we've since we've had a couple people from up, not quite that far, but up in. I mean, I think the internet is the internet. I don't really know how it works, but
doesn't Al Gore know? Didn't he invent that shit?
I don't know about that.
Well, he said he did.
Let's see if let me see if I can get a hold of her.
It's all good, man.
Christine's been drinking all day.
Yeah, she was telling me earlier something about a brewery a friend of hers has up there.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, up in somewhere in New Hampshire. But yeah, man, I mean, it's one of those things with connections. They're kind of hit or miss.
Yep. I mean, doing the live feed, we already know we've experienced, that's just the way it goes,
Oh man, yeah.
Taking a chance.
It's funny. I mean, even my son, like he could be sitting in the same room as me and get like a terrible feed on his phone, like, and he can't download something, and I'm like, fine,
Yeah.
Bandwidth, damn it. It's all about the damn bandwidth.
That damn bandwidth. Anthony said I clean up good. Well, thanks. I know you'd probably rather look at a guest on the Crush Corner, but I appreciate that. I actually didn't even really shave, so I just pull myself back and probably can't notice my rough exterior without shave and stuff like that.
Exterior.
Look, you're seeing the long Blue Cat Brewery in Londonderry, New Hampshire.
It's a cool name. Long Blue Cat.
Long Blue Cat. I saw that. I actually saw a picture of it that she had posted in the logo for the brewery was pretty wild looking. It was a long blue cat. So
oh, nice. Shocker.
So I had, speaking of hot sauce, like I was saying before, Big Rick, he sent me some hot sauce. This stuff is fucking awesome, man. I do have a little bit left, Corey, if you want to try some.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, it was like a pineapple one and a peach one. Ooh. And as soon as I popped them open from the pressure sealed thing, they were like, the smell was incredible, man.
Wow.
So good. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I brought some to the shop. I had some on some chicken. I had some on some eggs. Like, I mean, I'm a crazy hot sauce person, so I put it on anything. But
yeah, I enjoy it too. I put it on just about everything. Nope. Add a little extra flavor.
So if you guys just hopped on, we had Kendyl here, but she's having some technical difficulties, which is the beautiful thing about live stuff, right?
Yeah, man.
That's just the way it goes. So
it's just the way it goes, man.
I mean, we had one episode where we lost you for a little while there because of the internet, right?
Oh, that's right.
And,
yeah. That's right, man. I had a major router problem.
Yeah, you were like on the phone, trying to get on the phone with the company and stuff like that.
I was just about to, but then it kicked back in. I think I rebooted it or whatever, and then it worked finally. But yeah, man, that stuff happens. What can you do?
Oh yeah, Rick says it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
I had a chance to talk to her, and it's pretty much right above Seattle. The Vancouver Island. I believe it's Ladysmith.
Yep.
And some of the pictures she posted and some that she shared with me, and just the area is just it's so beautiful up there.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes me definitely want to take a road trip.
Oh yeah, man.
There's so much that I want to explore, and as again, as the world starts to open up, hopefully we'll be able to get back to travel and all that stuff, man. So
that's the hope.
The hope. Yeah. So this, like you were saying earlier, Corey, that like we were talking about the CDC stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy that we're headed in this direction. Let's see if we can get Kendyl back in here.
Oh, let's see what's up.
Yeah, that looks great.
Am I glitchy? Oh my god!
Wow, look at that.
Now I'm ready and flustered.
Oh, that's a win. That's triumph.
Yeah,
this is my relationship with technology. My work laptop, which I'm on, is at a 1% battery. It has stayed that way for about maybe 10 days. Don't know why.
Wow.
My desktop, which is over here, says the mic and the cam just won't respond.
So does the work laptop, is it actually plugged in and it's not charging, or is it just?
It's plugged in. I have the plug taped to my laptop because Grover's really good at stepping on it and unplugging it, and it just off. So I'm living on the edge the whole time I'm at work right now.
Wow. Nice. All right. So we're living on the edge tonight. I love it.
Yeah, I love technology.
But these are the things that we have to kind of just roll with. But well, we'll talk real quick then.
Yeah, let's do this really fast.
So yeah, cheers. Don't stress it. We're here to just have a good time and relax about it. It's totally cool. Whatever happens.
Oh yeah, that's all it's about. I mean, I got I got my dog here. He's just kind of like chilling out. Look at him. Hey, what's up?
Yeah,
we're just hanging out.
Mine are in the other room. I closed them out. I'm like, I need alone time.
Yeah, mine's he's usually very quiet and cool. So if you hear a really loud, thunderous noise, that's him hearing something outside.
So we, Kendyl, when you were gone, I guess from the post, enough people were kind of maybe more. They were more aware of that area that you lived than I was. So they talked about how beautiful it was. But just can you tell us actually where you started to tell me where you were from originally and then where you are now? Because I don't know much about the area. I know you're way over there and way up there.
Yeah. Well, by roots, I am from Winnipeg, and I'm living right now in Ladysmith, which is about 45 minutes away from Victoria-ish. Like kind of close to Nanaimo, but not really. I moved here for a job in Nanaimo, and then the studio shut down because of COVID. So it's like,
oh wow,
oh, man.
Here I am.
So how far are you from like Seattle? Actually, is it out like?
Oh, I don't know.
Gotta be, Corey. You're
like above, or British Columbia is above there. Like my sister used to drive from Kelowna to Seattle to go see her now husband, but
I kind of would think that's got to be an hour or so, maybe even a little less.
I don't know.
Really?
Maybe.
It's not super far. Like
it's definitely not. It's definitely not. It's probably like the equivalent to San Diego to Tijuana, I bet.
Sure.
Something like that.
That's a good comparison, Corey. I like
that. That would be my guess.
It's from this bar to this bar, the bar that has the good, onion rings, to this bar that has the strong shots, whatever.
That's right.
So you've been doing art for a very long time, and was it something that you just naturally started doing as a kid? Did you go into it at one point with some formal training or anything like that?
I was lucky. I grew up with a creative family. Like my dad drew comic book stuff and Bugs Bunny things, so he exposed me to the old school cartoons, and he used to record Saturday morning cartoons because that was our Google back then. If you wanted to draw a character, you had to pause it and then draw it, and then hope that your artist turned up while you're trying to draw before the pause gave up.
Oh man, that's awesome.
But that's how I started. It was copying cartoons, and then eventually just figuring out how to take that as like training wheels and then adjust into my own thing.
Would you have seen yourself as like a natural? Did you feel like you're like just out of the box, had some kind of talent, or did you kind of have to hone it?
I knew I was always distracted creatively. Like I'm obsessed with character design, and I always see people as characters. Like when I was in school, I remember I was distracted by substitute teachers or like somebody in class because they had a certain personality that could be caricaturized and made into something cartoon. So I was horribly distracted by character. I still am. But that was my jam, and I used to just draw whatever and pages and books, and my mom keeps all that shit. So it's always been there.
Awesome.
That's funny that you make that point, because I never really thought about it, but I've now looking back, I feel like I did the same thing in school because I was so distracted and I didn't really do anything other than draw. And now thinking about it, it was in fact, I got in trouble once when I was probably in 6th grade. I had drawn this really crude picture of my science teacher doing some pretty terrible things, and my dad found it in my book bag and like left it on the kitchen table for me to see when I woke up, and then like he didn't even say anything about it, and it was actually pretty bad. So, but it was the same thing. I was kind of like, just space out and just start sketching these teachers and stuff. So I never really thought about that. So thanks for bringing that memory back to me.
Yeah, I mean, like now that I look at it, when I was in school, I was horribly distracted, and also just I felt like I was different in the sense that I couldn't really learn or pay attention if it wasn't creatively driven. Because I was really good at things like science and psychology because I could draw the diagrams and just memorize the pieces as I was drawing them. Where history, I was kind of like, I don't really want to draw those things. So I just like completely zoned out and just meow, meow, meow in my head and draw on my pages. And I got through it, but I felt like I had some kind of issue with learning, and it just turned out I'm a creative learner. I need it in visual instead of written word, or don't give me written instructions. I can't do it.
I hear you. Yeah, definitely. I could totally relate to that. Were you drawn to any specific artists as you got older and you realized that you were doing these kind of caricatures or other art? Were there any artists along the way, even if it was a friend, the family, or famous or otherwise, that kind of stuck out to you?
I think without even planning, it was Chuck Jones, because I started so early with Bugs Bunny, and I've had a lot of people say that my stuff looks like his, where I'm just like, oh, sweet, because I love him. But I didn't realize that was the thing until much later, and it was showing up in my work. And Mary Blair was great, because I mean, look at Mary Blair and The Small World, and everything's so simplified. And I really loved the simplified approach, because in school it was sort of like realism was the way of identifying that your art was good, because it was like, oh, it looks like the real thing. And I was very abstract and against that. So when I saw other artists who were being abstract, like, yes, thank you. Picasso was a good one too, like just like representational shapes and making something kind of your own, and going off of the feeling rather than what needs to be real.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like can you look at what you do now and say I have a style, or because my perspective seeing your stuff, if I am going through and I see one of your illustrations, it kind of stands out and I say, oh, that's one of Kendyl's drawings,
I don't know what it is, but I see it, and I've had a lot of people tell me so, like they can identify, oh, is this yours? And they'll send me something that's in a magazine or wherever I put my art. I can't even keep track, but it just, someone will send me something like, I can see your style. Like, oh, cool. I don't know what it means, but I think it's that I like to venture away from being too real and have that kind of abstract, asymmetrical, kind of wonky. I like to rebel against the rules. So it's kind of a struggle, because I mean, working in gaming, it's like you're paying attention to perspective and realism, and not fully, but to follow the rules of perspective. I'm just like, oh fuck, because my perspective teacher hated me. They're just like, here's a box, but it looks better when you just fuck it up a little bit, and it looks better. I don't know.
I like a skewed perspective occasionally. I will admit it.
Yeah, like skew's good.
Old school Tim Burton was such an influence too. Like he had such a distinct style back in the day. I don't know what happened to him. He kind of like got a little flat with computer stuff, and I wish to get back into making actual sets and the hands-on stuff. Oh, so good.
Oh, so good. Yeah. Well, you definitely, it seems like, and I don't know if you're still doing different kinds of different kinds of medium, different kinds of stuff stylistically. I think from what you post, I can only say, but there was a bunch of stuff that seemed like for a while, or maybe you kind of go back and forth, like a lot of the real loose, like ink kind of. And you talk about like skewing stuff, like here's the I love a bunch of these that you did, and they seem so free and fun.
Yeah, what was that like? This pandemic, I haven't sat down and like inked a drawing since probably just a little bit before 2020. Because I used to do it in coffee shops too. Like I like to be in public, and it becomes a bit more loose rather than when I'm sitting at home where I can overthink everything.
It's something like this particular one, the Gremlin, is this actually like paper and ink, or is it like Procreate, or is it?
It's Illustrator. I'm very religious.
Oh, right.
Illustrator. I love Illustrator, and I also use a mouse, which people find. Because I don't really get the pen on screen yet. It's the kind of the drag of paper, and I know that they have things for screens to make it more like paper, but the glow and having all the screens for everything already, and also look at my problems with technology, I just would rather be on paper. But I used to do those kinds of drawings just as like a series, and maybe within a half hour if I'm in a good place, but I haven't felt that in a while. So.
Yeah.
Well, the zombie bear.
The zombie bear. Yeah, I love these though. They're so loose and fun, and like you still capture like the whole feeling of what the reference that they come from. I dig them a lot. I think they're super cool.
It was the Game of Thrones bear. I really liked the zombie bear.
Yeah, he was awesome. That was an awesome series too.
That was.
And then it seems like you were at one point, or maybe you're still just doing more of really painterly stuff. And this is, I imagine, this is canvas.
It's a piece of wood. Yeah, I've discovered paint pens, which are the best invention in the world. And I would just go sit in the coffee shop, and I started drawing Tom Waits and put it on a piece of wood and messed around, and something came out. Sometimes there's no plan, and it's just a surprise of what happens. And that was one of those.
Yeah. Wow.
So Anthony was wondering, and he's talking about anime, that it's gotten so huge over the past few years, and I know there's a lot more like American type anime, and he's asking what you think of that style.
Oh, that's a hard one.
You're smirking about it.
It takes me back to art school. Art school was kind of strange because there were kids who did anime, but it was kind of like that was their only thing, but also kind of uncomfortable where they didn't quite get it. So I always think of that, but in terms of the real thing, I love anime, especially the stories. They're very abstract and completely what you don't expect, and I love that unpredictable piece of it. And also, you don't necessarily have to make sense of it visually. It can just be so amazing, and I'm a big fan.
I love the Spock.
Spock, yeah. I've done that a few times. He's my go-to if I'm kind of in a creative funk and don't really know what to draw. I have like a top 5, and Spock is one of them.
I'm going to guess that David Bowie's another one.
Yeah.
I'm probably drawn to these for one reason or another, but especially the Bowie, because I'm definitely a big fan, and also my daughter's a huge fan of David Bowie, which is neat because she's got this old soul, and she's like totally into Starman, and she's
I love it. Yeah,
and it's incredible. But so I saw a couple different ones of the Bowie that you did, but this is so these are they a combination of things, paint pen and brush?
Yeah, I got obsessed with paint pen. I was just like, wow, I can actually just sketch it on the canvas, and it doesn't matter if I make a mistake, because you can just paint over it.
Yeah.
And I got into this zone of just painting for fun, and then if I didn't like a spot, I could just go back to it and paint over it until I like it, and just keep all those patchy pieces for the parts that I like and scrap the ones I don't. So it turns into a bit of a game of, am I going to change this? Because there's stuff even on that painting where I'm like, oh, it doesn't look finished on this side, but I could do something to it. I might not. I have a lot of very in progress paintings in my house, and sometimes I just like them in that progress because there's just little pieces to it where I like it, and it would just stay that way.
Yeah, for sure. I dig it. It's awesome. And are you, so how have you felt like creatively lately? Are you doing stuff? Are you stuck? Or what's the last year brought for you?
I don't spend as much time doing digital work because I do digital work kind of full time.
Yeah.
So when I'm done with computers, like I don't want to look at them, but at the same time, I always go into the weekends with so many plans to do stuff because there's things in here that want to come out, and sometimes I just don't have it, and I'll do more on paper, which I'm happy for. I've been doing a lot of art journaling because I started art therapy just before COVID started.
Yeah.
And the whole practice within itself, just to let go of expectations and making things look perfect, which I can get really wrapped up in. It was like, no one needs to see it. You don't need to put it online. You don't need to show anyone. Just keep it private. Have an ugly sketchbook is what I call it, where you can just put all your ugly thoughts down so that they at least you have them somewhere to go back to if you want to do them.
So that's when you say art therapy, you basically summed it up. That's exactly what it is to have this this place to kind of, almost instead of talking through a situation, you're drawing through a situation, and then kind of leaving it there and just letting it go, sort of, right?
Oh, it's so good. I didn't expect it to be as good as it is. Like, I have an art therapist, and we meet maybe once or twice a month, maybe more if it's a bad month. But she usually gives me some homework too, to like dive into, say, some personal struggles. I struggle with imposter syndrome, and I still have a lot of self-doubt with what I'm doing. I think I'll always kind of have that because I want to always do better at what I do. I think if I just thought, oh, I'm good enough, it wouldn't be that fun.
Yeah. Such an artist.
Yeah, but that was the thing, is that I've always kind of been an emotional artist, where it's like if I'm going through some shit, even since I was a kid, that was my healing or coping mechanism, was to put it on paper. It could be totally abstract. No one needed to know what it meant. They could take something else from it. Like, my very first time that I really did it was when I was 15. After my grandma died, she had said she wanted to come back as a tree. Yeah. And so I painted trees just kind of like as a healing process to keep her kind of close to me, and things like that. Like, art therapy is also just, for me, I like to give characters to my challenging emotions so that I not only get them out of my system, but I can put them in front of me and look at them and also ask them, like, what do you need from me?
Yeah.
I don't want it sitting there and festering, or else it's just going to be a weight. And then they just pile up, and I start to get really antsy and then I take
smart though. That's smart. Years ago, I used to do something similar. Now with drawing, but just writing. I used to leave something by my bed where, like, at night, if I felt like I had so much weight going on, like thoughts just going and going and going, I would just sit there and I would just write them all down and just feel like I got to leave them there.
Yeah.
And just feel like a little bit freer, a little bit lighter as I tried to lay down and go to sleep.
And you're not doing it on Twitter for everyone to see. I don't know.
No.
Well, to an extent. Like, during all the Trump stuff, I got really into my journal and just needed to put that somewhere, because I felt like every time I was going online, it didn't matter what it was. I just wanted to respond to one person, just shut up. And but it was just that, like, pent up anger and frustration. I needed to put it somewhere, or else it was just going to, like, bubble up. And then I don't want to take that out on somebody who doesn't need it.
Yeah,
it's the form of weights for me. I just go to the gym and move the weight around. And I feel much better.
Yeah. The internet is definitely a tricky place to do it. It's got to be done pretty tactfully, or at least we have to be ready to take responsibility for what it is that we put out there. So
well, I was also referring to when Trump was on Twitter. Like, it was bad. Twitter's
so bad
now, and I mean, it's nice to have that clear air-ish. There's still shit out there, but
yeah,
he was banned. It was like, what are the haters gonna do? What are they doing with themselves?
I'm going north.
Log cabin, Blake.
Yeah, I'm on it. Well, I want to look at some of your other illustrations. Actually, I have the portrait that you did of my family,
which is just unbelievable.
That's like 100 years ago. It's like looking at old photos of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me too, because I'm much older. I just turned 50, and it's like I'm like, wow. And we have the pit bull's not with us anymore, which is pretty recent, but I still have Gigi's going strong, and my daughter has changed. And actually, the funny thing, I remember giving you the photo, and it was perfect. And the only thing I asked you to add was this sprig of hair on top of my daughter's head, and she has continued to embrace the most odd hairstyles. Like, she's an awesome kid. I'll have to send you some pictures, because she's got this. It was totally like she had this natural mohawk, which is the whole point why I asked you to do those little sprigs, and it stayed. And then at one point, even actually last year during the pandemic, when we were all home, she wanted a literal mohawk, and we both shaved the side of her head, and she was like, and as a 6-year-old kid, she's like, I want a mohawk. Now she's got this crazy, like, dyed weird mullet thing happening. She's just, it's incredible. But this illustration meant so much to us, and it still hangs in the room, one of our rooms upstairs. So I love it.
What's up, Dave? What's up, Mike? How you guys?
Super cool. And so that's all Illustrator.
That's amazing. It's just boggles my mind, really. I just, that's one thing that I don't have that thing. I'm more the math guy. So like but yeah, it's amazing, because I've known Jimmy since 3rd grade. So like forever, basically. And I remember sitting in his kitchen, and he'd sit there
100 years ago
with an envelope, just mail sitting on the, or his dad is probably making us some kind of sandwich or something. We're sitting in the kitchen, and he just gets a little felt marker thing, and just starts drawing these things. And it's just like where does it come from? Just your jaw drops. Even as a young kid, you're just like, I could see that in a newspaper, It just boggles my mind. I just think it's just such a gift.
It is. It's a lot of practice.
No, don't get me wrong, but I think I don't know if I will say, and this probably contradicts something that I remember reading in a blog interview that you did, but like I don't know how much practice that I would possibly need to come anywhere near close to doing something respectable, because I don't think I have it. I just don't think it's there. I've tried playing all kinds of musical instruments, for example. Just never. I've tried, and it just never got there.
Yeah. But I like to argue and say that people like they can do it the same as you would handwrite. It's your handwriting. It's what comes out. And if you have an expectation of reaching a certain goal, then practice. But if whatever comes out, I like to say that's yours. Like, that's your creation. It doesn't have to be real. Kids will just draw whatever when you tell them to do so. And that was kind of what I really loved about art therapy, is that she got me to draw with both hands or my opposite hand, just to get rid of that tendency to, be a grown-up and kind of ruin the fun and want to pay attention to all the details and rationalize and talk yourself out of it or tell yourself you can't. And it was surprising to see what came out, because when you're using your opposite hand, you're using the opposite side of your brain. And it very much connects to inner child work, where it's connecting with your imagination you had when you were a kid, where you just had no rules and no expectations and just do it. So doing opposite hand is like, I was so nervous by it. So like, I have to plan this. I have to make this look the way I want it to. Because the first exercise that we did was, I wanted to identify what I was so mad at. I was really angry, just feeling kind of like something was there. I had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
And long story short, we discovered that it was attached to like grief and sadness, and anger is such a surface feeling to protect more vulnerable emotions. So when I started to identify this anger, I'm thinking, I'm going to draw this like angry dragon monster thing, and it's going to be so intimidating and ferocious. And it was just like, I drew this little potato with a sad face, and I was kind of disappointed, but at the same time, that makes sense, because I get really sad when I'm mad, because I don't want to be mad, and it makes me sad to be mad. And it was just this light bulb moment of, whenever I'm mad, now I ask myself, what hurts? Like, what do I need from myself to get through that? So here's to art therapy.
That's amazing. I never knew something like that existed. It's really cool. And I'm glad you're finding that it's useful too, It's
so cool. Just when you think that you couldn't possibly learn more about yourself, I'm the type of person who wants to learn it all. Like, why am I this way? And I've always had a therapist. and never had an art therapist, and thought, oh, this might be a different direction. And now it's a bit more self-based rather than, things from the past or family shit.
Sure.
It's more like, how do I process certain emotions, because we're sitting with all of this stuff in lockdown, and like, what needs me? And it's nice to take the time and literally draw it out.
Yeah. Are you doing that in this kind of format with via the internet as far as therapy stuff is concerned, or
No, I'll show and tell one that I have prepared for when COVID started, and like all of the shit that was going on last year. It just, I do it with pens and crayons, and it's very different. And I think that's what I like about it, because it's just such a break from being digital and flat. And
if when you're doing stuff like that, and you're kind of in it and laying stuff down, do you know, or do you have a sensation when you're ready to put the pen, so to speak, down and be like, okay, like my session is over, so to speak, like
sometimes I know what I'm feeling, where I'm like, okay, there's this thing and I need to figure out what it is. And I'll usually start by writing. Like, writing's really great to just spit it all out. One of the pieces of the writing that we really enjoyed was picking keywords after you're done, say, writing for 2 minutes. Just writing 2 minutes, not editing, just writing what you feel. It could be, I ate a sandwich this morning. It could be anything. But if you see repeat words, underline those words, and then say pick top 3, you can continue to write about those words and dig even deeper. Like, what's that? Yeah. What was I saying when I was using this word over and over? What do I need to So sometimes I go in with a plan. Sometimes I just draw shit and I'm like, what is that? And it's nice to just not have an expectation. Releasing all the expectation, I think, is probably the best practice, because I do it with so much of my work.
Yeah.
And this is just like,
they're everywhere, it seems, too, right?
Yeah.
Expectations. You can't turn a corner and not have one there, I guess, right? In some way, shape, or form, it seems.
Yeah. Well, everything's online and everyone's connected, and there's, that feeling of someone's going to see it. And whenever people have sketchbooks, they always start to throw down the self-judgment. And I think, well, who's going to see it? You could just tuck it under your bed for all you care. Like, no one needs to see it and judge it. The only person judging it is you.
Yeah.
Getting in touch with that voice that wants to tell you that it's something else is interesting. And then maybe make a character out of it.
Yeah. True. A couple of our friends are chiming in. Dave was getting frustrated because he kept misspelling art, and it came out as warts. Wart's been in therapy both physically and mentally with me lately. It's definitely cathartic. I know. And then he was like, God damn it, art, not wart. And then he said wart. It was very confused. But absolutely.
We got you, Dave.
We got you, Dave. But this is all, it's nice. I think with that end of technology and social media, to be able to see what it is that you're doing, or see what our friend Dave is doing, and to for us to maybe just look at it and be like, oh, that's a badass character, that's a cool piece of artwork, and we're not really on that end, the creating end that you guys are on, that and you're going through this kind of healing process as well. Because I know Corey and I know Dave, we've talked to him for a long time, and he's been posting stuff, and it has been absolutely cathartic for him. So it's nice to see, to have everyone else speak up about their own experience with healing and using art to get to that place. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and I find that it's also kind of getting that ownership back to keep it your own, because whenever you draw something, especially online, it's like you feel that need to present or to show new content, or there's always that slight bit of pressure to share everything you do, and I just love that I don't have to.
Yeah, it's such a I think I was almost struggling with that and coming into the pandemic, and finding that I had all this time to create because my business was shut down, and and then wondering if it was the kind of thing that I really wanted to. I mean, there was this strong desire to connect to people because I was literally isolated like everyone, and I was like, I'm going to show this wood burning I did. I'm going to show this whatever I did, and I kind of questioned it, and then I was like, fuck it, like it was for me, or it wasn't always for me. It was something that was asked by someone that if I could create a memorial or do something, but I was like, and I think anything like putting it out there, if someone was like, oh, that's awesome, and knowing that they had this sensation of smiling at a piece of artwork, I was like, that's all it's there for. Because it's like, I mean, with your stuff too, I look at so much stuff, and that's the experience on my end. I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool, and I want to share it with someone, and it's art, and I think that's the gift of it, and that's the way it should be shared with other people. So it and someone, we talked to someone, Corey, I think it was oh my god, Chris Galley, he's actually he's in Buffalo.
Devil Chicken.
Yeah, he said something about, with his work and stuff, he said something to the effect of he realized he kind of had to go out and create his own audience. So to that extent, it was like putting your stuff out there, it was in a positive light, like. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I love certain things that I do. I don't love everything I create. I'm like, this sucks. I mean, throw it in the garbage. But there's some things that are really important to me, and I want to share them. And then the people that kind of latch onto that stuff I think you're creating a good network of friends,
Yeah, no, that's what I love about Instagram mostly, is that like there's such a solid community, and I love making new content, which I haven't done as much of. I'm trying not to put on so much pressure to do so. It's just, there's such a big part of me that's like, I want to do more, not only to make people feel good, but also it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So when the weekend rolls around, I'm like, all I want to do is nap. And then I get frustrated when Monday comes along, because I'm like, I wish I would have drawn and done stuff, but it comes and goes, and I try to share, even if it's old stuff. I'll post something like, hey, remember this? Because
it's awesome. And it's like, I mean, I don't know, it's so funny because, like I said, to have followed your stuff for so long, and then I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, you definitely seem like kind of elusive, to where you're doing your thing, and it's it's not like in your face kind of thing, and it's like hard to find any photos of you online. Yeah. And I was so grateful that you were willing to take time to chat and stuff. So it's interesting, the time.
I mean, it's a big step outside of my comforts. I don't know what happened, but I just kind of pulled back when things got a little weird with boundaries, where I was like, I think I need to just not share certain things, and still testing out what that is. But I really just took myself away from it for a minute, because it can be hard when you want to share something that's really special, and then I call them the leeches, and I don't even want to talk about them, but they're the people who just like suck so much out of you because they want something, or they think they know you. And it's a negative experience. Like I have
totally
positive experiences, but there's the negative ones, and they kind of just don't leave you alone, or they come to you and they need something, or they like it piles up. And during pandemic time, I was just like, I can't even deal for a second with that, because here I am with trigger finger wanting to tell people off. I can't. So I just kind of did a bit of a detox online of just keeping it basic. Here's my drawings. I only recently started showing my face again through my stories by doing just a morning cup of coffee every day. And that was for me to not only just engage with something and make people laugh, but it was also so I would get out of bed, get dressed, and make myself feel good. Yeah. And it's become something I look forward to now, which is so strange, because I was like, oh, I'm actually showing my face and I'm talking to things and telling really awkward stories, but that's who I am. So I had to fill that void and come back and just say, it's going to be different this time. And just to kind of adjust boundaries. And
I mean, it definitely lies within our intentions. I mean, that was the whole point. I mean, a lot of this kind of stuff happened or was born from the pandemic. It was podcasts, different ways to connect. Obviously, businesses, everything. It was this kind of way to connect. So in that aspect of this really positive way, I think it's cool because I've just in the short time, a year and a half or whatever it's been, I've connected with people that that just never would have happened. And even though it's this kind of friendship or whatever you want to call it, there's still some validity to it because you have this understanding that like, yeah, this is a person I dig, a person I relate to. They're halfway across the fucking country, but you still have that appreciation. I mean, like I told you, Corey and I talked to now, 4 people from Canada, and they're it just kind of happened. And I've been like beer trading with people. I sent some beer up north and swag, other swag like stuff from the Crush Kill Destroy stuff, and I've gotten things from friends from Canada. It's a cool thing, and it's almost being in our little world here where we're like, the pandemic is like, don't go to the store, don't go down that aisle, and like, do you guys want to hang out? I don't know. I don't know if I'm cool with it. You kind of embrace it in this way because we're completely safe like this. So it's a very crazy, it's a really wild experience.
I wanted to go back on that Leach's comment. That Leach's comment that you made, Kendyl, and it's the social media, right? So these folks that Leach or focus on the negative, like it's one of those things I always. You get like 10 out of 10 questions, right? And then one wrong is what people will focus on, not the 9 you got right? And that's usually what those leeches are doing. They're not recognizing the 90% or better that it is. They're just trying to find that one little thing that's wrong so they can just like feel better about themselves.
Yeah,
and it's just stupid. I mean, the Cryptopsy, when we were talking to Matt, they had this, she changes a little bit of a way the bands used to sing and this and that. All of a sudden they want the bus to crash. It's like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, it was, provides, like, the internet provides this platform for people to say some pretty harsh
mouth
stuff
off, right?
Without a lot of protection.
Yeah. A lot of protection.
You'll get some help and you'll feel better. It's just a lot of pointing. And I like the saying about pointing a finger at you has more pointing.
Exactly.
So,
it's true.
Haters can hate all they want. I just used to be a person who wanted to make people happy and be everyone's friend and Hakuna Matata. And now I'm just like, if you don't like me, it's still a practice, but I even have to say, if you don't like me, fuck it. I don't care. I do. There's a piece of me that does, but a big portion of me doesn't care anymore. Like I don't have time to sit and care about who doesn't like me. But
my grandfather used to say, piss on them if they can't take a joke.
Wow.
Grandpa, really?
That's what he used to say.
Go Grandpa.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. We can't take ourselves.
A lot of energy to project that shit, and I just find it so fascinating that people take time out of their day to project hate, like
trolling for it, right? They're trolling all day, just trying to find it.
Just trying to find that thing to get mad at, and it doesn't make any sense. But understanding anger, I think it makes some sense. Like, there's something hurting, go fix it.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm not to judge. I'm not the one to blame for it. But if I look like I am, have a vent. I don't care. Let it out. Go somewhere else. It's just the leeches.
Yeah.
Leeches.
Leech is gonna leech. Hate is gonna hate. So definitely, I want to show some of the a good amount of your work is stylistic. This kind of stuff. I absolutely love this fucking drawing of Nina. So cool. And I don't know, I grabbed a few things obviously that my eye was drawn to. Brutus, right?
Brutus the Barber.
80s wrestling. I don't know how or why, but I
love it.
So much info about 80s wrestling because my dad was a bodybuilder in the 80s.
Nice.
And I mean, wrestling was kind of a big deal in the 80s with it came right after cartoons, so it was an excuse to keep watching TV.
It was
but
big.
everything was so bright and fun and tassels and like
Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've drawn about 35 of them, and it's one of those things that if I was on Jeopardy, I'd be so happy if that was my category. But I don't know how or why. I can't even remember my own damn postal code. Never mind. I can remember people like Red Rooster and really obscure wrestlers.
Oh, that's so funny.
There was so many images when I was looking through stuff. It was just I was completely overwhelmed because I love everything that you do so much. I was just like, I don't even know which ones to really take a look at because they're all so wicked.
Big part of it is just self-entertainment where I honestly catch myself laughing at myself because it's a thought and it makes me feel good, and it's kind of like my own special drug of like, who's next? Who am I going to draw now? I was doing Saturday Night Live for a little bit. It was a lot harder than I thought, but it was nice to sit down and watch all the old Saturday Night Live sketches because they're on YouTube now, and you can dive into the old stuff and just
Debbie Downer,
so many. They're hard to draw though. They're all, a lot of them like act with their chins, and it's a lot of like chins and faces. I found that really hard. I almost caught myself making those faces as I'm drawing them.
I love Charles. Yeah.
So sad when he died because I was going to see his concert, and it was the first time he got sick and was pulled off tour. Damn it, because I haven't really gone to an actual indoor concert, I guess. I've been to other ones that Winnipeg always had free concerts, and if it was free, you go. And Charles was supposed to be my first concert, and when he pulled out, I was just like, oh no.
I grabbed this picture, not necessarily for that reason, but I do have a memory of that because I really believe that you turned me on to him because you were so stoked about it, and then when I realized that he had done that Black Sabbath cover, I was like, what? What? And I loved that song, and I took a listen to it, and then I started to listen to more stuff, and then I was stoked that he was going to tour, and then he passed, and I was like, I
know. Oh, it's so heartbreaking. And that music video is beautiful because he sings with his whole face.
Oh my god!
And in the video, he doesn't move his mouth; he just does the facial expressions as if he's doing it, and it's just like, ugh.
Have you seen it, Corey? You got to check it out.
No, I haven't seen it.
Good.
I have to check it out.
I love him so much.
It's kind of it's bittersweet in a sense too, because a lot of people now refer to that song as the
Big Mouth.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that because like it was like I don't know much about that show and watch it, and like I think it came on one day and someone's like, oh yeah, it's the Big Mouth song. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, be careful. Don't watch that with your kid.
Yeah, I know. I know that much.
Okay.
But it was it's crazy, but I love that one, and of course this guy's been everywhere, and this is super cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah, cool.
Baby Yoda. I know that's not who he is, but I still refer to him as Baby Yoda.
Yeah. My daughter was pretty obsessed with him, like many people in the world.
I know many who love Baby Yoda.
Oh yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So do you have anything going on right now that you're into with digital stuff? Are you completely away from it? Or actually, if you don't mind, like what are you doing for work?
Can't share super details, but I'm working for a company called Leaderly Games, and we did a Cheech and Chong game. So our games are weed based, which is really funny because I thought I would get away from weed culture when I left high school, and it just kind of followed me. So yeah, I'm doing like character design and a lot. I'm learning a lot, way more than I thought I was going to learn. And we have a new game coming out soon, and I can't share other details other than that.
Yeah, it's great though.
No worries.
Yeah, it's a fun job. I mean, like I'm working with a bunch of stoners, so. My secret Santa was my boss, and he got me edibles for Christmas, and I was just like, this is where I work.
It wasn't doesn't sound too shabby, actually.
No, I mean, when I first started, we were having Zoom meetings with Tommy Chong, and it's like, I never in a million years thought this would be my job. And yep.
Boom!
Yeah, there he is. What a funny guy.
I love the I actually, when I saw the photo, I was like, what? And then I didn't notice your reflection in this photo, which I think is super cool. So
picture.
So this was a like a big group Zoom meeting.
Yeah, and then someone put me on the spot and asked a question. I was like, oh, because I really just freeze under so much pressure of attention. I'm somebody who just kind of like shrinks back when there's tension. And they mentioned Winnipeg because I was there at the time, and he directly asked me some things about Winnipeg. And it's like, oh my god,
that's so cool.
I had like a full blown just I don't know what to say moment because it wasn't him. It was just me being awkward. And yeah, he got really deep into a topic and eventually I think his son like canceled him out on the meeting because he's high all the time. Going on this rabbit hole of a very deep thought with like God and it was just like, okay, stop.
Wow.
We're all just sitting there kind of awkwardly like, what do we do?
Like, roll with it. He'll get there.
Oh, that's such a funny job.
I've had to do that. I've had to do that with Corey plenty of times, actually.
Nice.
Like,
yeah. Oh, totally. That's why
wrap it up.
I wouldn't smoke anything before this, or I'll start going way too deep, and I'll have to stop. Well, you get hooked on something, and you're like, I didn't think about this, and then it just goes deep.
Yeah.
Just being in pandemics altogether because I smoke and my neighbor upstairs smokes. We've had some deep conversations about like grief and the things that we've been dealing with through all of this, and it's like everything is just transforming constantly, and yet it feels like nothing's changing. And yet, like looking back a year from now, I had just gotten here. And it feels like I've been here for 100 years. And then at the same time, it feels like I haven't even seen anything because I don't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's so.
Don't move to a new town during a pandemic. It's really hard because I don't have like a friend that I can just call up and say, let's go for a dog walk or let's do socially distant something. I don't know anybody.
So you have this whole area that you have really yet to get out and explore.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. I mean, the downfall on the weekends is that it's so beautiful outside that everyone goes out there. And so if I want to go to like a new trail or check out a new beach, there's too many people. So I kind of just stick to my neighborhood. And I mean, it's beautiful. There's this amazing creek just 5 minutes away, and it looks like this fairyland hobbit place. Like it's just all green. And it's amazing that you can just step into it. And it's been a good restart, at least for when I need to just get out and feel a little bit insignificant and just erase every racing thought in my head. But to actually see the island, I haven't done a whole lot, and it's kind of a bummer. But at the same time, I mean, I have so much I can see and do yet.
Are you personally being cautious with the amount of people that are out there, doing so much stuff? That's your choice to kind of just be cautious and chill right now, so to speak.
I mean, I already have like an existing social anxiety with crowds in general, so to actually have to stay away from people, it's an interesting thing to see. Even just like a small cluster of people, I'm like, there's a big part of me that says no, so I just don't. But if it's, I mean, I'm in a town that's only 9,000 people. It's small. I've gotten to know some really amazing neighbors, and I haven't really seen my coworkers since I got here, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, it's a mixed bag of being excited to see some new stuff and get out there and do my own thing. And it's also super weird because I don't have like my old comforts, for example. I can't just go wander around an old neighborhood that I know, or it's so different. But, I mean, I feel for what is going on right now, I'm glad I'm not in a big city. I'm glad I'm kind of bordering on the forest. Like the forest is right here for me. It's just right there. You could go in and get lost. It's this great big hill with snow on the top still. And then the ocean is just down the street. And every morning it's breathtaking, but it looks like a stock photo everywhere I go. And
crazy.
That's great.
Well, I hope you have a chance to really
get out and explore and get acquainted. Yeah.
Once we start getting there, I'll be exploring a bit more. It's just I'm taking my time with it for obvious reasons, and still waiting to get this shot. And it's pretty slow here, so we still have a way to go.
Maybe you'll run into Yogi Bear.
There are lots of bear sightings around here. It makes me really nervous. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny to live in a place where walking at night is more scary, not like as a woman. Instead, it's just as a human. Because
dinner.
Yeah. My dogs look delicious. So I have to be careful. As soon as it gets dark, I don't really go out because I don't know what's right there.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you're right near the forest like that.
In the middle of the night. It was like this orange. It ran away too fast. It was like a fox almost, but it had this big black tail. It was not a cat.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what it was.
Wow.
Yes,
there's got to be some seriously wild nature out that way, right? Like
it's amazing. You should hear the frogs at night. It's so loud.
Oh, God.
So loud. I can hear it from in the house as soon as they start. It's really cool.
I mean, what was it? Did you come from? Now, where were you living before you live now? Where were you? Because you moved around a little bit in Canada, yeah?
Yeah. I lived in Edmonton for about 9 years. And right after Breakfast had died, it was like my business was not really going anywhere because I was just stuck with all this grief and kind of like paralyzed with not wanting to do portraits anymore. I was doing pet memorials. So it's really you're grieving with your pet and trying to help people with their grief and empathizing with all of it.
Yeah.
So I went home to Winnipeg, which is where I'm from, and I was staying with my parents for the winter, which was not fun in terms of Winnipeg winters because they are the definition of wind chill. Like it can go down to minus 50 over there. It's amazing. Yeah. The wind burns your skin.
Oh boy.
The weather wants to kill you there. And I was living with my parents who kind of live in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by highway. And when it first had its massive snowfall, I'm staying with my mom, and she's like, "Do you feel anxious about this?" Like, don't ask me. Of course I feel anxious about this. So I was there for a full winter, and it was like leaving Alcatraz. I was like, I need to go. So I left in May, and this was after COVID had started. There was no end in sight, and I thought, I don't want to stay here not knowing when I can go. So I just wanted to get back on track with my life, and you know, I went and I drove for 2 days and got here and stayed at home the whole time for a year and a half.
Was work a part of some of these moves, or you can?
Yeah, when I was leaving Edmonton, I think it was shortly after I arrived to Winnipeg. I had I don't remember when I had my interview, but I got the job like 2 weeks after I got to Winnipeg.
Okay.
And it's a flexible job to work remote, which is great. And like nothing has changed for me since COVID, which is awesome. And we've hired tons of people because we can all work remote now, which is great for technology.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got the job when I was in Winnipeg, and I'm sitting there thinking, I didn't really need to leave Edmonton because I could have just stayed there and continued working. But I needed some family support. So I got to Winnipeg, and they flew me out here to see the office in Nanaimo. And that was great. But then we eventually just got rid of the studio because we don't need it. And now we have all these people working remote who's just like, who knows if we're going to get the studio again, because we don't need it unless it's just a temporary space.
Well, it sounds like you've been utilizing what you can to kind of deal with the changes that the pandemic has brought on, especially the art therapy and whatever else, I don't know, edibles or something.
It's a combination of the two on the weekends. I mean,
is there anything else like because there is this commonality for all of us now with how we can deal with what has happened. Like any advice other than the art therapy type stuff, or maybe an outlook that you have that you find has helped you that you could offer?
Just to disconnect and rest. I've been doing a lot of resting, which is very unlike me because I'm not the type to just sit still. I want to be doing something. And I've really embraced the idea that doing absolutely nothing is kind of necessary.
Yeah.
We need space. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of this online communication. I always have my phone because my family is elsewhere, my friends are elsewhere, so it's just constantly like stare at this little screen and then stare at this big screen and then watch TV. So it becomes a lot, and I just feel like turning everything off, getting away from it, and just kind of being with yourself.
Yeah,
it's a different type of alone time.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm home all the time, but yet when it's the weekend, I approach it differently so that I'm doing, some self-care to make sure that when a new week starts, I have the energy to get into it. If I work over the weekend, I'll be fried before Monday because it's really giving yourself that mental break. So it's almost necessary now because it's just a lot.
Yeah. If you're in one place quite often, you do have to find this creative way to set that time aside, like you're saying, to either rest or just
and just like
take
I have a lot of creative friends who are struggling with being creative, and I get it. I like to be productive and I like to do a lot and I like to make a lot of fun things, but it's really not, I don't know. It's stressful right now. Even if it doesn't feel like it's stressful, there's something stressful going on, and it's going to impact how you do your job or how you focus. For me, it's focus, or even just the mental energy. Sometimes you just don't have it, and you have to recharge the batteries. So if it's go outside. I like to try different mediums. I've been playing more music. I've been writing a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, just anything to make you feel good. If it makes you feel good, do more of it. Just make the time for it. You have the time for it. Even if it's just for a minute. I always tell people, set a timer for a minute and see how much you can get done. And even if you extend past that minute, you're doing something you're really enjoying. You don't want to stop it. But if you just do it for the minute, then you did it for a minute.
Yeah, it's super important. It's funny because I think with what the timing of when things kind of happened and who was affected by the shutdowns that the pandemic caused, it was like a lot of service industry, which and a lot of artistic or creative things kind of got really shut down. So it was weird, the timing of like it allowed us this time to actually it allowed me time to kind of delve into other avenues of creativity, because I was burnt from my own job. I was like, oh man, I'm feeling burnt. Like maybe I'll back off, maybe I'll slow down, and then all of a sudden I didn't have a choice. It was like, boom, you're shut down. Then I was like, like I kind of like this.
It's early retirement.
It's really hard when you want to do that thing that you love to do, because I feel like so much of art in general, it comes from kind of a place of coping, whether it be you're mad or you're stressed or just kind of a way to disconnect from stuff you don't want to pay attention to. It's just an outlet. So when you're going through all this stress of pandemics, it's like, well, why can't I do all this art? I have all this time. I always put this pressure on myself to say time is endless because I'm stuck in my house. Like I'm in my house forever. Why can't I use all this time? But at the same time, it's like, well, you're not getting out and engaging in the way you used to. So your inspiration level kind of goes a bit down. Your energy's different.
True.
And you're not engaging with the world the same way. So you have to kind of cope differently. And I think that's where all these new mediums kind of come in, because I've been painting a lot more where I've never years without it. And now that I have it at home, it's this different sort of comfort of oh, well, just do this, and it's not on a screen, and it's, I don't know.
The definition of normal changes.
Yeah.
You know,
it's nice to have those outlets, but without having that, you know, that huge pressure to create and finish something. I always tell people, like, even if it's just to start it, you don't have to finish it. You don't have to say it's done just because you started. You can go back to it weeks later. You can put it away. You can do something else.
Yeah, Dave is saying kind of like what happened to him through the diminished physical abilities. Dave's dealing with some cancer and stuff, and he's got a lot of pain in his hands from chemo, but he's been doing a lot of art and drawing. He says, if you're not moving, you're dying. And that's a heavy statement, but there is those moments that we can't really grasp those creative moments or really embrace them. And I've been there too, where I feel completely, there's just nothing to give creatively. And I almost do feel like I'm dying, and I'm like, oh, it's like, but it's, especially not with everything that's happened, I guess it's important to be kind to ourselves as well. If it's not happening, just to take the time, like you're saying, to rest, or just take a moment and be like, whoa, it's cool,
And I think it's also that we're evolving so fast, at least like in terms of personal growth and awareness and all this shit that we kind of have to sit with.
Yeah.
As we're going through this stuff, I feel like I myself am changing so rapidly. I don't know what my process is anymore. I don't know what my work is like anymore if I was to do it the way I used to before all of this shit kind of happened. So I'm learning an entirely new process, which makes me kind of excited, because I think when I get back to it, I'm going to see that change in my work. It's like, oh, there I am. It's a piece of yourself that you're kind of missing, where you want that thing to come, but it's not the time.
So do you feel like that it's happening faster because we have been forced to slow down? So we're aware of all the changes that we're doing personally. Is that what I never really thought of it like that, but I feel like I was like fucking full steam ahead when the pandemic happened. I was like, I want to make music. I'm going to do a different kind of art. I'm going to go build something in the backyard. I want to make a fucking garden. I was just like, so I never really thought of it. I want to start a clothing company. I want to start a podcast. I was like, ah!
So when you look at it, I was the same, but I've asked myself, was that dissociative, or was that actually wanting to do the thing? Because now I'm more aware of the emotional kind of giving and receiving part of it, where I'm not doing as much new art now because I get more gratification from myself over having an audience, which is what I used to have before. So I'm not giving as much as I used to, because I have to give more to myself, and I'm not ready to give elsewhere. It feels selfish, but at the same time, I mean, I feel like I need to hang on to that energy. And when it's ready, it's ready. Who knows? It'll come back. It always does. It's just, it's probably not going to look the way I thought it was. And who knows what it'll be.
Yeah. Oh, that's the perfect timing for Dave's another thought. It's hard to have vision, not being able to make it come to fruition. It makes you learn how to do things differently, which is a really good point.
Yeah.
Sometimes they kind of go down a different way than you expect, and they turn into something even more beautiful than you might have envisioned in the first place. So.
Yeah. Well, and everything, like I try to tell myself I don't have to do everything. I think I get tons of ideas where I'm like, oh, I want to build a board game, and I want to do this, and I want to, draw comics of myself, of me and my dogs, because it's so ridiculous, the shit that I do in a day. It's just me and my dogs. But I don't know. There's times where I'm like, yeah, the idea is great, but can I actually mentally squeeze the juice out? I don't know. I might need a 5-hour nap before I do it. Who knows? Or like crush an edible. I don't know. It's all unpredictable. But I think we're just learning a new process, because life itself is a totally different process of everything.
Mentally squeeze the juice. I love that. I usually a lot of times during these chats that we have with people, I am inspired by some of the stuff that people say, and I kind of joke about it, but a lot of it has really become something. Like a lot of the Crush, Kill, Destroy, which is funny because Corey and I always reinforce the Crush, Kill, Destroy idea and brand is actually a very positive kind of thing. It's about going into whatever it is that you do and putting both feet into it, and in a really a positive way for whatever it is that you do. So Crush, Kill, Destroy, though it may sound harsh, it's all about positivity. And a lot of times people will say something and I'm like, wait, I'm like, I have to make a note, and then I'm like, it's going to become a t-shirt. So, but they really are. A lot of stuff on the site is actually is all inspiration from friends and family, and it's recreated into some kind of simple graphic art and put back out into the world for this thing that was strictly driven by an idea and a sentiment left over from my dad. And then, if I made a buck or two on it, I was happy, but it wasn't the motivation. And it has never been. And especially when the pandemic hit, I was a month into launching the t-shirt, the clothing line. And I was like, whoa, this is fucking crazy. But it also allowed this time to really push it on social media and build the website. And then I was out of work myself, and I was putting all my energy into it, and my sales went up, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then the podcast kind of came out of this, when we realized we were going to be locked down for a little longer than we expected. It was kind of came out of this desire to connect to people and to share these inspirations and creativity with other people, so that I could kind of keep the momentum for the brand going. So
yeah, totally. Well, and that's the positive about some of it. The silver lining within the pandemic is how much connection has actually come out of it in a different way, and seeing that you can connect with people that you didn't know you could connect with.
Oh, for sure.
It's pretty amazing. I have a little promo. I usually do a product drop during these things. It's like a couple seconds long. So I made a post that I was going to drop a new product, and I feel even funny saying that, but I embrace the term product drop. It sounds so like, what's up? I got a product drop, but
yeah.
But I always have fun. I always have fun making new videos. So this is our newest product that's up on the website. Sunglasses. Nice. So that's Roy in the video, and that's
he's
Roy.
Looking good. Roy's looking real good these days.
And I've thought he's getting a little haggard, but I've talked about him before, Kendyl. Through the pandemic, it kind of became the almost like what's the Tom Hanks movie with the soccer ball?
Oh, Wilson.
Yeah. He kind of
or Spalding. No, Wilson.
Yeah, Spalding. That's another movie.
Spalding. Yeah, that's Caddyshack.
So, yeah, Roy actually he's been through a lot. He's like a styrofoam skull, but when I print in my little bunker down here and put orders together, I have found myself, I'm talking to this styrofoam skull. So it's like, he's
pandemic life. I have 2 dogs, and I mean, I didn't think I would be beatboxing at my dogs and like singing ukulele songs and writing songs for my dogs. Like, it's just whatever. What happened?
And you had so I definitely I know I want to ask you I just want to make sure that was the main connection, like I mentioned earlier when we started chatting, was breakfast, and I know what he meant to you.
Oh, God, yeah.
I know it may be hard. I was kind of wondering if I should even.
No, it's okay. I've gotten over the like sporadic ugly crying. It was a pretty heavy time, but I mean, I knew he was blind. Like, he was 9 years old. He was going pretty blind, and I could tell we weren't going to have a lot of time left. And I even remember it, speaking of talking to things. I remember even saying to him, I'm not going to be able to do this. Like, I'm not going to be able to put you down. I can't even. So we were just playing ball, and he kind of seized up and went down, and I heard his last breath. And I remember just sitting there for a split second. I thought, oh, that's it. Like that's it. And I just kind of sat with him for a bit, and it was more leaving him at the vet that was like the whole,
sure. Oh yeah.
Whoa, that's my dog. He was 9 years of my life. And in Edmonton, he was kind of like he was a decade of my life there. He was sort of who helped me get through that fear of people that I had and my social anxieties, because I would take him to like a farmer's market or just walk him down a busy street, and people are always drawn to his giant mouth and his ridiculous face. And I loved meeting people through him, because it would be, someone would tell me a sweet story about their dog, or they just wanted to like squish his little jowlies. And
well, they have that amazing gift they offer, is that they make this common ground between humans. So I think that's a really beautiful thing. He obviously meant a lot to you. You have everything. You have your website is breakfastjones.com. You're still the Twitter is Breakfast Jones.
Breakfast Jones. He encouraged so much fun, and he always played, and I just love keeping his energy with me, because it reminds me to do the same. Because the reason why I picked the name Breakfast was to practice gratitude for the little things. And I was going through a really dark time before I got him, and breakfast was one of those things on my gratitude list. I was like, I love breakfast. It's the best way to start the day. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, I got this dog. He's the best way to start the day. So he became Breakfast. And then I added Jones to the end, because every dog needs a last name in my mind. And it remains. I mean, I'm so happy to have been his person, and the things that he taught me, the things that pets teach you, is just so profound. We could go on for hours about it.
Yeah, completely.
He's gold, and I'm so glad that I had him.
It's to have the option to share those moments that you had with him on social media and stuff. You have this karmic connection to people out there that also become connected from these pictures. Like myself, it's, oh my God, this dog is so cool. Like, look at this. And then to have, when you lost him, to know, being a dog lover myself, and know that pain in the loss, I was like, oh man, that was tough.
It's worse. I whenever I see other people go through it, and just like, oh,
it's the worst.
It's crushing. I had an old man in my block just cry in front of me one day, because he had put his dog down, and I let him borrow my dog just to like take him for a walk. If you need someone to walk with, I know, those empty places and the things like where you would normally see them, or just their little things that they do, and to not have it anymore, it's such a coping process.
Oh God, yeah.
So you got these two guys. So this is Bird, right? Is it Bird?
Birdie. I don't know where the name came from. It wasn't planned. It just kind of came out of my mouth. He was originally called Sprout, and he never answered to it. It was like, you might as well just say water. He had his little ears just kind of flapped a little bit, so I started calling him my little birdie, because he also cries a lot.
Yeah.
And I could say Birdie in the other room, and he's there. And the other one's Grover. Yep. I got him last August, and having a puppy in quarantine is not the easiest, especially when you're outnumbered. But he's finally almost a year, and he's starting to get it. But he's also a full-blown basket case, and I love him. He actually reminds me so much of Breakfast. He just does everything that he used to do, delivers me toys, and sits there and waits, but like puts his head down, like, are you gonna do it? And
I'm waiting.
He also gets on the sidewalk, which Breakfast used to do as well. So, like, oh, those sweet little things.
Yeah, they're awesome. It's great. I know you had Birdie as a pup when Breakfast was still around.
Yeah,
right?
That was hard, because Breakfast was blind, and Birdie is just all legs. So I had to kind of keep an eye on a puppy, but also watch Breakfast Eyes, and that turned into a really massive stress of just trying to keep them both protected and safe. And there were a lot of eye scratches that went on where I just felt so terrible for him because he had to sit with the cone. I was his service person. Like, I had to take him downstairs. I had to kind of guide him to trust me in a different way. He'd see shadows from cars and just kind of stop, and I'd have to, show him, you can fully trust me. And eventually he would just kind of give up and let me gesturing. He would let me just kind of, our relationship got very different, but in a almost like a more intimate sort of way of me helping him.
I'm almost in the same boat now because my Boston is 13, and we got another pup. Or, well, I mean, she's 22 months, so she's got young dog tendencies, but she's all about like playing with Gigi, my Boston, and Gigi's like, she's an old lady, but I see this spunk of life, and she's probably, her hair, she's like deaf, and her like eyesight's probably not the best, but she does have this little bit of life about her, so it's kind of neat. But watching them play, I'm like, oh wow, she's an ornery old lady. Like, she puts the bigger dog in place. She's like, fuck that, I'm done with this playing shit. Like, let me go. Go. Yeah,
Bostons always have like a split second of being Joe Pesci, where they're like, I've had enough of you, and that's it, and then they're done. Like, they're done after that. But it's just that split second of like, am I some kind of clown? And they just lose their shit, and then they're done. Brady does the same with Grover.
I'm funny. Am I funny? I'm funny to you. I'm funny. Like, haha, funny. I'm funny.
Yeah. It's totally they just have a moment. It's not permanent. It's just that like little. It's almost like the Snickers commercial with the attitude that pops out. They just want their space. Once they're done, they're done. I get it.
So you posted this. There's a photo on your Facebook feed, which I always feel kind of weird because I'm like scrolling. I'm like, I need things to talk about with people. It is what it is. And what you had to say was why I wanted to bring it up. And not only do I appreciate you as an artist, but you're obviously in tune to some compassion and good things. So I love this photo. I love this. I love what you had to say about this guy, Greg. And I went back to it a couple times and reread. So
he used to just kind of wander around the farmer's market, and he had these little stars that he made out of beads. And if you acknowledged him, he'd give you one. And I have like 3 or 4 because I would always say hi to him, but he would just say, thank your lucky stars that you're alive. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. To allow yourself open to that experience, or that little quick moment in time, I think is huge. That a lot of people have a lot of side blinders on, and they just kind of pass people like this by. So
yeah, well, I've even said to people, one of the biggest figures that I miss from Edmonton is a homeless man named Dale. So he used to sit at the same farmer's market and greet everybody, and I just found his energy so positive, and I would take that time to stop and say hi. So I was like, how the hell do you keep saying good morning to everybody when some people treat you like shit? And as soon as someone treats me like shit, I'm like, well, fuck y'all. Why am I even trying? And he would just keep smiling. So I got to know him and would eventually bring him leftovers. And he just had such a big heart. And when you can feel that energy from people where they're just genuinely kind and giving and have something special, it's like, I just love that. And Greg, I miss him.
And that was in Edmonton, right?
Yeah. Edmonton has a really hard hold on my heart. Like I always describe where I am right now, Vancouver Island, is like having a really hot girlfriend who like just so nice to look at. But Edmonton is just this huge community of all these creatives and these wonderful people. It's hard to part with a hot girlfriend. And like, can I just not bring everybody from Edmonton?
You've got Corey and I giggling. I'm not even really sure why, but I was starting to picture the photo.
No, I totally get what you're saying. That's why it's funny. I get it.
Well, the first thing I thought was
is she just hot, or does she actually do something for you.
I was thinking about the island, Vancouver Island, and I was like, yeah, a really hot girlfriend. It's like, but you just can't really explore her right now. I mean, that's what I was thinking about.
Well, she's not giving much back. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to go into isolation in a position that is slightly isolated already. Because I'm in a small town. I'm on an island. I'm surrounded by people. I meet people, but there's a really funny reality that there's a lot of seniors here. And one of my friends here said, because people come here to die. And I was like,
ooh.
But they do, though. It's very peaceful. The seniors here are so active. It makes me feel like shit. They're so active and so positive. Everyone says good morning. Everyone asks how I am. Some people drive by and like stop and say hi to my dogs. They're very positive, lovely people.
Yeah.
I'm like, where am I going to meet somebody who's my age? That's hard to say. So when I say like a hot girlfriend here, it's like, well, she's really nice to look at, but what else is there? Is she giving much back? It's a funny place, but super hilarious to be intimidated by the positive activity of people who are almost double my age. And my yard, I'll just say, my yard is a raised yard, and it's also not a closed yard. So I step out onto a stage when I get up in the morning. And sometimes I get up a little bit later. I'm not a big sleeping in type of person. Yeah. I'll go out there at, say, 8:30, and it'll be full blown like bedtime zombie because I just got up and I have to take my dogs out. But there will be people walking by and they can see me fully just standing there, like eyes closed. Grover will pee. Birdie's pooping on the other end of the yard. And I'm just like not awake yet. I look like an absolute zombie. And there's somebody in their 70s that's like, hey, good morning. And I'm just like, hey, I'm a piece of trash. Yeah, it's pretty amusing. But the people do make a big difference. It's hard when I don't have my people. And that's been a bit of I don't know. It's hard to process sometimes. I miss my people. I'd love to just bring them all here because it's beautiful. But what do you do with a hot girlfriend? You just look at her. I don't know.
I usually like to see if I could find something relatable or something that might resonate with you as far as some of the mottos and stuff that Crush Kill Destroy has on some of the t-shirts and stuff. So I was thinking about one, especially as an artist. Well, we have this shirt that was one of the, it's kind of funny because it was the only shirt that's not a black shirt, and it was a woman's shirt, and it says Crush Kill Destroy, but within Destroy I fit the word create in there, and I just felt like you really can't have one without the other, create and destroy. So as an artist, like in your experience of drawing or making things, like do you definitely get to a point where you're like, fuck this drawing or painting, it's done? Like sometimes you say you'll leave something and maybe add to it, but have you scrapped a lot of stuff and just been like, and found it a necessary process in order to approach something from a different direction and start again or make it better in a sense or different?
I hung on to a motto that I think my animation teacher in college said, and it was, sometimes you have to kill your babies. And I thought it was such a terrible thing to say, but I get it, because you could have this idea and you love this idea, but if it doesn't become anything more than just that idea, you kind of have to scrap it. I mean, killing a baby sounds a little terrible, but I love that because that's where I remind myself that not everything that I think of has to be executed to be a little thing. Put just a scribble down to say I did part of that idea. If I want to go back to it, I feel that if it really has that meaning, you'll get into it and you'll do it. It's just you have to find the right process and the time. And if it really does mean a lot, then you will do it. It's just killing your babies.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely you know, I totally understand that statement too. I mean, it's a little harsher as a parent, but
Yeah.
but it makes that, but it makes absolute sense. It's I think in order to be open to
you love it, and it's precious, and it's something that you really want.
You created it.
It's your thing. It's something, but sometimes it's not the thing that's going to evolve into anything more than just being an idea, not the baby. Don't kill your baby.
Not figuratively, everyone.
Yeah. It's been helpful ever since my animation teacher said that, though, because even when it comes to simplifying an idea, sometimes we'll get caught up, especially for like logo design. I find people want to add so much to a logo, and it's like, well, yes, those ideas are all great, but when does it start to turn into this big explosion of too many ideas? And definitely more than one idea. But sticks out. Kill your babies.
I'm gonna write that down. It's gonna be a new shirt.
It's a good one. It's hopeful.
Inspired by Kendyl.
Don't quote me on that
one. But no, I'm glad that it was quickly relatable too, because that's kind of where the idea came from. I just think that you can't really in anything that we do. There has to be this period of messiness, so to speak. You know, it's like you want to make a garden, and you go out to this, terrible piece of land, and you just destroy it, rip it up, move these rocks, and push this shit over here, and you're just like, what am I doing? And at one point, you look around, and you're like, oh my god, and then eventually you look and you say, oh, I have this neatly mapped out area of fresh soil, and like let me start and grow this garden. So that's kind of the idea of crush, kill, create, kind of comes from. So
I always tell myself when I'm having a big self-doubt day before I start my work, it's almost every other day, but I'll just encourage myself, kill it. You can kill it. You can do such a good job. I have to constantly remind myself, you're good at what you do. It doesn't make you an asshole to feel that you're good at what you do. If you didn't think you were good at what you did, you would stop doing the thing. So embrace what you're good at and do it. Like, just keep killing it, and always encourage yourself to keep learning more and keep doing more. And who knows where it'll take you? It might take you to something entirely different, but I always have to say, kill it. Like, just get into it and just fucking kill it. Who cares if people don't like you for it? There's going to be people who shit on it because you're doing well, or they think it looks easy. Fuck it. Go do it then if it's so easy.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
Black leeches.
Damn leeches.
I want to be sure that folks that were hanging out with us know how to, if they would like to follow you and see some artwork and stuff. I showed it a couple times, but you definitely gravitate towards Instagram for sure. Yeah,
that's usually my go-to. It's visual, so that's I typically go there. I might go to Twitter, but that's just to repeat what I did on Instagram.
And then how active is the website right now? Is it are you not too much?
Yeah, I don't like maintaining a website. I'm really terrible at it, and I just kind of put it there for a resume at the start, just so I'd have a collection of some of the work that I've done. But overall, Instagram is my jam.
That's your jam.
Yep.
That's all our jams. All right, we have a couple of people hanging out with us, so we're gonna do some trivia, and I would love for you to hang out with us, Kendyl, but you can't give anything away. If you know the answer to any of these, you can't answer them.
Okay.
But if you'd like to give some hints, they're not difficult. Corey and I always encourage people to Google shit and just
we do.
This is mostly a matter of speed, and on my end of the internet, whatever I see first in the comments is where the free stuff is going to. So we're gonna start our destroy trivia. All right. Yeah. Christine already followed. She loves your stuff. It is awesome stuff.
It is awesome stuff.
So we're going to do this trivia that I put together is influential illustrators from whenever. And I'm always racking my brain to put these things together. Sometimes they're witty and creative. Sometimes they're not so much, but so I'm going to show a cropped out illustration, and we're going to see if people can get it. So number one, I'm actually looking for I'll be a little lenient in the beginning. I have 6 questions or 6 things to show, and the first one, I'm looking for the name of the illustrator. So you're going to be right on with these, Kendyl, so don't blurt it out if you know. So our first one is a cropped out picture. Guess the illustrator. Dum, dum, dum.
And what's really interesting about these, this is more of a visual. You can't really Google these.
You got
right?
True. Yeah, that's true. Actually, I didn't think about that, but I tried to not make them really too difficult, because sometimes we'll get hung up on trivia and we're just kind of hanging out and stuff. But people are usually pretty quick about it, and then if we need to,
you can, if the visual triggers the brain the right way, then you'll have something to Google. That's the trick.
Well, yeah, you got to trail off from your initial thought.
That's it.
I'm guessing that you know what this is right away, Kendyl, right?
I know what it is, but I don't know the name. I'm really bad with the names sometimes.
With the illustrator, yeah. I don't know what this is. I don't know, Christine. What are you talking about? Oliver? It's not Oliver. I don't know. Some of the it is not Knutson. I don't know what that is either, but it's not. Some of the guesses we got are actually really great. We've got some really crazy stuff from people, which is super cool and hilarious. This actually, I didn't know this until I read this illustrator. I believe he's from Brooklyn, but Corey, I didn't know this. He actually passed away in Connecticut.
Really?
Yeah. He passed away in Danbury, which is Danbury's only about 35 minutes away from us, Kendyl. So I had no idea.
Interesting.
And this is this book is a huge
it's been a movie.
It's been a movie, a really interesting movie too. I don't know how I actually felt about that movie. It kind of made me feel weird.
Yeah.
I didn't really know how to Christine got it. More yes, Maurice Sendak. Yeah, we're the ones. You go. Very good. Woo!
Nice job. There it is.
Nice. I got to make my notes, because usually at this time of the night, I go back and I look like who actually won free stuff, and I can't read my handwriting. I'm like, oh man. I have a feeling, for some reason, I have a feeling that Christine's just gonna kill this tonight. I don't know. All right, number two. Let's see. Second one. Who was the illustrator? This one's kind of easy.
Whose feet are those?
Well, I mean, that is a good question, because there's quite a few characters you can actually guess, because they all look pretty much.
I think I know. I can't be 100%. Oh,
they've got it. All right.
Hey, there you go.
Nice one. And that was that one wasn't too difficult. Whee! Kendyl, are you playing your ukulele at all?
Every day, actually. I make sure to pick it up. I usually do it when I'm waiting for my food to cook. Something to keep myself busy. And
I'm not gonna lie, it was definitely a thought to ask you to play, and then I was like, I don't want to do that.
Oh, I hate showing my face when I sing, because I have to make really awkward faces to get to the high notes, and I'm still every time I post a video, I crop my head out because I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to show all of the feelings that go into my face when I try and get.
That's what it's all about, though. You know.
I'm not ready.
Next time. Number 3.
Oh, okay.
It is not Corey in your Googles. That's not the artist. Excellent band name, actually. Corey in your giggles. I like that.
Oh boy!
Another note I have to jot down from this episode.
We're going on the road.
Corey in your
Can't
giggles.
wait.
Oh my goodness.
This artist was actually one of my earlier influences.
Yeah.
With, like writing and drawing. Yeah.
Such a crazy looking dude too, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
he always really kind of creeped me out. Like he's a creepy
artist.
Huh?
He's an artist. They're all kind of creepy in their own way.
Like I read this stuff with my daughter too, and some of the poems I'm like, oh, this is kind of dark, like really like kind of heavy. Yeah.
Good to go to sleep too.
Actually, I watch and read some questionable things actually with my daughter, but she's into it, and I said, "Yeah, you cool with this?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm not afraid. I'm not." Mm-hmm. She likes some pretty wild stuff. So, no clue, huh? Well, there's the biggest hint is what this. Look at Mike comes in.
Mike,
last minute.
That's impressive, Mike. Good job.
Mike actually does a really good job, and I haven't heard much from him this evening. So that was cool that he was like, boom. Yeah. Yeah.
So good. I always wanted to color those when I was a kid.
Oh yeah. Actually, I never looked at it like that before.
I love that they're black and white though. It's so
cool.
It's kind of what I try to get into with art therapy. It's just like draw the thing and write some words and make it similar to that.
Well, it's interesting too when you were talking about that, you know, just kind of getting the words out of you, and they're actually part of the art, the artwork itself. You know, even though it's not just journaling stuff, but you're probably a little more aggressive or whatever, right? Getting these, and they turn into their own shapes and stuff, which is what I really dig about that.
Yeah, and like give your emotions names and identities. It's kind of funny to write a thing about, say, like I've written about my anxiety, I used to draw them as monkeys because I think monkeys are so gross and I don't want them in my house. Same thing with anxiety. But to just like give it an identity and write about this gross ass monkey, like get out of here, anxiety. I don't need you.
It's funny you say that. When my daughter has like a bad dream or something, she uses art therapy actually, now thinking about it, to get over grief and stuff. You know, we lost a goldfish, or when we lost the pit bull, one of the cats and stuff, she'll draw it. But she had a dream about this crazy monkey, you know, and she was telling me, like, I kept seeing him even when I opened my eyes. I saw this white monkey, and I was like, whoa, that's freaky. And I said, do you need to draw it? So I need to draw, and then we put it in the fire pit to get rid of it, and it works. You know, she's like, I never saw him again, Dad. I was like,
yes.
Yeah,
that's so cathartic. Stuff like that I recommend when it comes to, you know, like a negative feeling or maybe an experience with someone that you just can't get rid of. You want to get rid of that feeling, like draw it out, set it on fire, or bury it.
I did the same thing with my wedding album, actually. Completely cathartic. Totally recommend it.
Completely cathartic.
I can't get over
it.
That's great.
You let it out.
Christine was going to guess Ron Jeremy was her next guest. I just had to highlight that because it's so silly. She's cracking up. All right, the next one is number 4. Boom. All right, number 4.
Oh.
Ooh.
I think I know who that is, but I don't.
Yeah, super cropped out because any more of this would probably be a pretty easy giveaway.
This movie who illustrated for a movie?
Illustrate lots of illustrations that led to that led to a movie. I don't know if I'm really saying that right, but
okay, I might be confusing for somebody else. We'll see.
Yeah, this is a super cropped out one of the image that I chose, but do you know this? Do you know? Well, you kind of Corey, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, super creepy. Another creepy guy. Artist. But
a lot of them are creepy. It's okay. They have to put that creepiness somewhere.
Good guess, but it's not Olivia. That's a good guess though. I actually really loved Olivia's stuff a long time ago. How do you feel about Frank Frazetta?
I'm sorry, I can't think of who it is. I've had a couple.
I'm kind of like he drew a lot. Oh, he drew some old Conan stuff. Yeah, Conan stuff.
Okay.
His thing was he drew a lot of women with like big butts and stuff like that. They were like primitive.
That's probably why I don't know it. I probably would have thought though.
No, I think if you saw it, you'd be familiar. I mean, I think he's awesome. Yeah, Frank. Maybe I'll send you some stuff you can look at.
Whoa,
Liz, yeah.
Look at Liz coming in.
Yeah, that was so from this image, Geiger always liked to put. I tried to choose one that didn't have too many penises on it. He was always like putting like penises in his drawings and stuff like
that. I don't want to get this wrong. Is he the one who did like concept art for Alien?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay. He died on your birthday.
Oh, did he really?
I don't know why I know that, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. I didn't realize that. H.R. Geiger. Yeah. Really wacky dude. So this next one is. I actually you definitely need to Google this because I really wasn't familiar with the name, but I was really familiar with art. Not only from this, but from other stuff. And I can actually just show the full photo because the artwork's really killer. And then I didn't realize that he had drawn for.
Is that a record album?
It's a record album. Yeah. This one I wasn't really aware of, but it's a huge record album, but he did art for a publication that ran through the 80s and stuff that was all music related. Or
I know the guy, but I don't know the name again.
Yeah, right. So I'm gonna, I'm just gonna show this. This is the album cover. We all kind of know it. We know what this is basically. But why are you chuckling at this artwork?
Because it's so good. It takes me back.
It is, right?
The lighting is so good.
Oh. I always got a kick out of it too.
Look at that.
Oh, Liz got it. It is Rich Corbin. Yeah. So she mentioned heavy metal. Yeah, he wrote for illustrated for heavy metal too. Really, really awesome stuff. Christine still thinks that it's Ron Henry, but
no.
That was
that's so great.
Okay, I have one more, and I decided to go way back, and I wasn't sure how strong the word illustrator held up if you're going into like the as a clue 1700s and 1800s, but it actually was a printmaker as well. And I won't say anymore. Last one. So this is a very, very famous painting. I can say the pointy parts of it kind of are a huge part of this painting. Do you know what it is, Kendyl?
Again, I do and I don't. Like I recognize what the piece is. The names. This is why I didn't do well with art history.
Yeah. So I'll say that he's also a poet. And I don't know if he did any sculpture work. I think it was painting painting, poetry, and printmaking, even back in the 1800s, which was pretty wild. But this image too is always kind of freaked me out. It's in a movie, and it definitely freaked me out. I don't know why. There's something about the whole image when you see it. It's just like It's like
exactly that.
It's
That's the sound I was making in my head.
I don't know what this is, but it's not correct, Christy.
Nasty.
Kendyl, are you doing any late night live drawing stuff lately? Because you were for a while. I mean, are you night owl by any chance?
Yeah, I go through phases. I try to get up at normal people hours for work because I'm usually in meetings and stuff, but I find my creativity just between 10 to 3 in the morning. It's like boom, because everyone's sleeping and all the distractions go away.
Yeah.
And you can just focus and stare at the light or whatever is in front of you. And
well, it's interesting because I feel like I've been able to catch you quite a few times because it's the same thing. I'm usually outside by my fire pit making music or something, and then I'm like winding down, and I jump on Instagram, and it's like, oh, live. Let me see what she's up to drawing. So,
I try to. I'm trying to do more of that just to get me to do it, so that I have something in front of me, and I've even done some where I don't have a plan and it's just me drawing in circles, but it's something like it's nice to just turn it on, get in the habit of trying to live stream again and share the process of just getting ideas out. But I would love to get back into actually executing something and trying to share a bit more info about like how do I plan things or how do I work.
When you were talking about the Illustrator and using the mouse, now thinking about some of the stuff that you were showing that you were doing live, I can now see the the crops and I can hear the clicks and the stretches of the illustrations, and I think it's so cool because I've been fighting like Procreate and iPad is so huge in tattooing, and I'm not good at it at all, so I don't use it, but most of my shop does, and I fight it so hard, and
it takes some time.
I sit with a light box still in a mic, not number 5 micron, and I just do my thing, and they're like, you should really get Procreate, and I'm like, I just can't do it. They make the pen tips that feel. I just can't do it. Like it just doesn't feel good to me. I don't know.
I had a hard time with the iPad mostly because of the size, because I tend to draw even on a piece of paper bigger than what the piece of paper is. And I'll end up like taping pieces of paper along with it because I can't work within a tiny box, and I need to zoom out and zoom in, and within like a little space like this, it just makes me like I just want to turn things, and it's a lot of getting used to it. I like the different brushes and the things that you can achieve. But it's just like
I use Photoshop a lot especially with the t-shirt design stuff. I'll hand draw something, scan it, and then manipulate it, or I'll even just photograph stuff and then manipulate that and add text to it and stuff. But
I find that I'm usually sketching just to get the motion of what I'm drawing out, and then if I want to scan it or take a picture of it and put it on screen, I'll alter it there, or I'll just use the drawing as a reference to go on the screen and alter whatever is happening, whatever I don't like and whatever I do like.
I'm going to show this whole painting because these guys haven't gotten it yet, and then we could even give the title. So have you seen this, Corey? And I think it's
I know the movie.
Well, I think the painting is called The Red Dragon with woman in I forget actually. So if that helps.
I love it.
Damn it.
This is so good. I have to have this art forever, and you just gobbled it up. That's a heavy piece, though. It's so like.
Oh my god, it's I'm telling you, like it freaks me out. Like I think it's the muscles in the back, and then there's like the wings actually start underneath the butt cheeks.
Yep.
It's just very like explosive and
yeah.
Horror in that picture.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear Birdie crying under the door.
Oh no.
It's like, where are you? You've been gone for so long.
I think we got a winner.
We're gonna give it to Christine. She actually got it backwards. It's William Blake, but we're gonna give it to her because she's awesome, and I owe her some coasters anyway. So
there you go. Congratulations.
Nice job. Excellent job. What's so cool? Oh yeah. William Blake, really interesting guy. Like super cool stuff. All right. I'm just gonna. Yeah, she said same thing. Okay. So we have come to the end of this episode of the Crush Corner, and I am so grateful that you joined us and really shared a lot of personal stuff. I really appreciate that. That was super cool of you, and I'm glad we were able to get our technology kind of working there. But little.
Oh my god.
We just set ourselves up for it when we talked about it. We're like, oh, we'll see, but it worked out. It worked out. Awesome.
It worked out. My 1% battery is holding up, and we did 1%. It.
Yeah,
we've been going 1% for quite a while, and it got you through. And I think it's excellent.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for taking time to chat with us. It was really good after 100 years to have a chat with you, and really appreciate what you do. And a lot of people appreciate it as well. They're very grateful. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. And we're not sure when we're going to return with the Crush Corner, but we will be back.
Well, we'll be back
as the world opens up and shapes us. We'll figure that out.
Yeah, kill it.
If you have a minute, Kendyl, just hang out. We're gonna end the broadcast, and then I just want to say a quick goodbye to you. But for now, thank you and cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Be safe, keep creating, and do what you do, and do it damn good.